Mid-December in Abu Dhabi, a city shimmering with desert heat and artificial grandeur. The Yas Marina circuit, its blue neon veins pulsing in the darkness, had never felt so electric. On this night, the world's attention was not on the city's lavish skyline, but on two men strapped into carbon fiber missiles, separated by nothing but adrenaline, nerve, and a single zero on the points table. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, two titans of speed, arrived at the 2021 Formula One finale not just level on points, but knotted in a rivalry that felt destined for a conclusion so dramatic, you'd suspect it was scripted. But what unfolded in those final laps wasn't Hollywood. It was racing distilled to its purest, most contentious form. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi catharsis, the lap that shattered records, divided fans, and left the sport forever changed. Let's dive in. Setting the stage, a season for the ages. To understand why Abu Dhabi's showdown meant so much, we have to rewind. The 2021 season wasn't just another year in F1's storied history. It was a collision course between eras. Lewis Hamilton, the reigning king with 7 world titles, stood on the brink of immortality. One more crown and he would eclipse Michael Schumacher's legendary record. Max Verstappen, the Dutch prodigy, the disruptor, the relentless charger, had spent the season the lap that shattered records, divided fans, and left the sport forever changed. Let's dive in. Refusing to play by the old rules. Their rivalry wasn't manufactured. It was forged in battle, from Silverstone's first lap crash that sent Verstappen to the hospital, to Monza's chicane tangle that left both cars stranded, to the chess matches at Austin and Saudi Arabia. Each race was a new episode, each wheel-to-wheel fight a viral TikTok moment. By the time the circus rolled into Abu Dhabi, the championship narrative was already reaching fever pitch. Never before had 2 drivers entered the final race tied at the top. Whoever finished ahead would take it all. 57 laps of destiny. Race day dawned with a sense of inevitability. Hamilton, cool and composed, started alongside Verstappen on the front row. The lights went out, and in a heartbeat, Hamilton swept past Verstappen into turn 1. For lap after lap, Hamilton's Mercedes seemed untouchable, carving through the Yas Marina night with surgical precision. Verstappen fought, but every attempt to bridge the gap felt futile. Fans across the globe began to resign themselves. This was Hamilton's to lose. The tension wasn't just on track. Social media exploded with every strategic pit stop, every radio call, every millisecond lost or gained. The Netflix cameras, ever present, captured the nervous glances, the clenched fists, the pit lane prayers. As the laps ticked down, the narrative hardened. Verstappen was running out of time, and Hamilton was inching closer to an 8th title. The unthinkable twist, safety car mayhem. Lap 53. Suddenly, everything changed. Nicholas Latifi's Williams spun out and crashed, scattering debris and triggering a safety car. The field compressed, erasing Hamilton's hard-fought lead. Mercedes, wary of giving up track position, left Hamilton out on old hard tires. Red Bull, gambling everything, pitted Verstappen for fresh softs. The chessboard had been upended. What happened next is already legend, and the source of endless debate. Race director Michael Masi, under immense pressure and with the world watching, made a controversial call. Only the lapped cars between Hamilton and Verstappen would be allowed to unlap themselves. The rest stayed put. Suddenly, Verstappen was on Hamilton's tail, separated only by the thinnest sliver of air and a world of drama, with 1 lap left to settle a year-long war. The overtake, aggression meets inevitability. As the safety car peeled away, Hamilton led the field into the final lap. But Verstappen, on fresh, grippy tires, was poised like a predator. The world held its breath. Into turn 5, Verstappen lunged, a move so audacious it bordered on insanity. But it wasn't reckless. Onboard footage reveals the magic. As Verstappen drew level with Hamilton, he made a micro-adjustment with his right wrist. Just a millimeter, maybe less, but enough to keep the steering angle perfect and the tires from scrubbing speed. It was the kind of instinct that isn't taught, only earned, on soaked kart circuits in the cold dawns of a Belgian childhood under the stern eye of a father who demanded perfection. Hamilton fought back, but it was over. In a blur, Verstappen swept past, crossing the line as the new world champion. In the garages, Red Bull erupted. In the Mercedes camp, disbelief. Skill over circumstance. The anatomy of a champion. Strip away the noise for a moment. In that decisive overtake, Verstappen showcased not just nerve, but skill honed over decades. That tiny flick of the wrist, the refusal to oversteer, the calculated risk. These were not the actions of a lucky opportunist. They were the hallmarks of a driver who had been forged in adversity, who saw an opening and seized it with clinical precision. Maximilian Verstappen's story reads like a script for a blockbuster racing movie, one that hooks you from the very first scene and never lets up on the throttle. Born on September 30th, 1997, in the Belgian city of Hasselt, Max was destined for the fast lane from the moment he took his first breath. Motorsports coursed through his veins. His father, Jos Verstappen, was a celebrated Formula One driver, and his mother, Sophie Kumpen, was a champion go-karter in her own right, even related to one of the sport's legendary figures. In a family where the roar of engines and the scent of burning rubber were as common as breakfast, young Max's path seemed almost predestined. But what truly sets Max apart isn't just his lineage, it's the way he seized every opportunity with relentless passion and focus. While most children were still mastering the art of riding bicycles, Max was already carving up karting circuits at the tender age of 4. By the time Max was in his early teens, he had racked up a jaw-dropping list of wins and titles, dominating karting championships not just in Belgium, but across the entire European continent. In 2014, at just 16 years old, he leaped into the fiercely competitive world of the Florida Winter Series. Against older, more experienced drivers, Max's breathtaking speed and racecraft shone through. He didn't just compete. He won the championship, becoming the youngest driver ever to claim the title. The Red Bull Junior team, renowned for scouting and developing future F1 stars, snapped him up almost instantly, making Max the centerpiece of their next generation. Since then, Max Verstappen's trajectory has been nothing short of sensational. By January 2023, he had entered 169 Grand Prix races, standing atop the podium an astonishing 35 times. His consistency is remarkable, with 73 podium finishes and 29 pole positions, proving not just his speed but his ability to deliver when it matters most. It's easy to focus on the controversy, but the truth is that drivers win or lose championships in moments like these, when instinct, training, and courage converge. Verstappen didn't just win a race, he validated a lifetime of sacrifice. In that instant, he wasn't just a beneficiary of circumstance, but its master. The rules, the repercussions, the ripple effect. Of course, no discussion of Abu Dhabi is complete without dissecting the rules that led us here. Race control's decisions that night sparked months of inquiries, rulebook clarifications, and even contributed to Michael Masi's departure. The FIA scrambled to restore faith, promising transparency and consistency, but the scars remain. For fans, the finale exposed the sport's paradox. F1 is both a science and a show. The tension between pure competition and entertainment isn't new, but Abu Dhabi forced the question into the mainstream. Should rules bend for spectacle? Is unpredictability part of the magic, or a betrayal of merit? The debate rages on, and it's not just academic. Every new regulation, every steward's call, every safety car deployment is now viewed through the lens of Abu Dhabi. For better or worse, the finale reset the baseline for what fans expect and what they'll tolerate. The human side, triumph, agony, and what came next. Lost in the uproar are the human stories. Verstappen, finally a world champion, wept tears of relief and vindication. His father Jos, himself a former F1 driver, embraced his son with a pride years in the making. Christian Horner, the Red Bull team principal, celebrated as if exercising a decade's worth of Mercedes-induced frustration. Fans of Hamilton felt robbed, not just of a title, but of a storybook ending. Verstappen supporters saw it as the overdue rise of a new era. For neutrals, the ambiguity was tantalizing. There was no easy answer, no neat resolution. The finale forced everyone to pick a side, to stake a claim in the ongoing mythos of Formula One. On the other side, Hamilton handled defeat with remarkable grace, congratulating Verstappen before retreating from the spotlight. Toto Wolff, Mercedes' mastermind, raged at the injustice but ultimately accepted the outcome. The pain was real, but so was the dignity, the millimeter that changed everything. Let's zoom in, literally, to Verstappen's visor cam as he made the move on Hamilton. Slow it down, frame by frame. You'll see the hands of a master at work, the steering wheel twitching ever so slightly as he balances the car on the knife edge of adhesion. That extra millimeter of input wasn't luck. It was the residue of 1,000 hours in the wet, learning how to coax grip from cold tires, how to judge a rival's line, how to take everything and give nothing back. In that instant, Verstappen's entire racing life converged. The years of karting in the rain, the brutal training, the endless simulation laps. It all came down to one decision, executed in the blink of an eye. That's what separates the great from the merely good. Not just the ability to seize opportunity, but to create it when none seems to exist. The future of F1, new era of dominance. What can we learn from Abu Dhabi? First, that Formula One is at its best when it walks the tightrope between chaos and control. Too much regulation and the magic dies, too little and the sport loses credibility. The trick is to embrace the drama without compromising the integrity. Second, that fans crave involvement. The explosion of content, live streams, analysis videos, fan cams, podcasts, proves that people don't just want to watch, they want to participate, to shape the narrative, to argue and agree and remember together. And third, that moments matter. Championships are won over a season, but remembered in seconds. Verstappen's lunge, Hamilton's heartbreak, the flurry of radio messages. They're the images that linger, the gifts that go viral, the memories that define an era. Abu Dhabi 2021 wasn't just a race, it was a reckoning, a catharsis, a mirror held up to the sport and its fans. It reminded us that greatness is complicated, that heroes and villains are often the same person in different lighting, that the only thing predictable about Formula One is its unpredictability. Were you devastated or delighted? Do you believe in sporting justice, or do you revel in chaos? Did Verstappen's micro-adjustment steal your breath, or did the rulebook leave you cold? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives. Because the story of Abu Dhabi 2021 will never truly end. And neither will our love for the wild, beautiful chaos that is Formula One. See you in the next video.